3 different states. 31 million of those people under blizzard warnings. A total of 8 states now under states of emergency. In addition to the D.C. area, New York City's mayor recently urging his constituents to, quote, stay off the road Saturday. We know that Jonas could be one for the record books, especially in our nation's capital. Meteorologist Jim Cantori joining us live from Washington, D.C. Jim, take us back. 2 days ago, we had, what, an inch or 2 of snow. It crippled the evening commute. I think one that caught a lot of people off guard. Doesn't take much, but now we've got the one that everyone was looking forward to, and it's a whole different mindset, right?
Dennis, you know what I think happened, in my honest opinion, and this is no slam on anybody, okay, so I have to preface that. The fact that on Wednesday morning, the Weather Service issued blizzard watches for Washington, D.C., where do you think the attention went?
Oh, it immediately went to the weekend.
Event that night?
No, with the weekend.
Exactly. So that basically took everybody out of that mode of dealing with the situation at hand and going into weekend prep mode.
But Jim, what alternative did they have? They had to do that, but what do you do in the short term to get people's attention? How impactful an event's going to be for something like a 2-inch snowfall?
I mean, I think you have to focus on that first, because even if you put out the blizzard watches afterward, I think that we still would have had plenty of time. I mean, we've been talking about this, for goodness sake, since last Saturday. So, you know, that's a huge deal. And you know, but you know, my hat's off to having the confidence to actually do that, because we were that sure of the forecast. Right. We knew there was going to be these blizzard conditions coming up. So, you know, you're kind of caught between a rock and a hard place. You want to put up the best forecast possible. We're all on the same team in the enterprise to do that. We want to get people out of harm's way, which I think is mission accomplished, because I'm standing here tonight, Mike, right in the middle of Louisiana Avenue during the rush hour, and there's 1 or 2 cars coming by, and that's about it. So, you know, mission accomplished in terms of this. It was the small event, certainly, that caught us off guard, and unfortunately created tremendous gridlock here in D.C. But that's a memory. We're past that. We're over it. We're dealing with the storm at hand, and that's what we really have to focus in on right now.
All right, Jim. I can see, you know, you've got the mall there behind you, the Capitol building. And we've been able to see the Capitol building this evening. How bad do you think something like visibility is going to be tonight, tomorrow morning? If people say they want to venture out, they've got something to do, they've got to get to work, how bad will it be to just physically drive tomorrow?
I think if people set their alarms for 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. and tune in, this is going to be a whole different story. You know, you're going to have snow piled up. It's going to be blowing around. You will not see the Capitol behind me, even in the day when the sun comes up. So it's just going to be a whole different animal, Mike. That will be the true blizzard part of the storm, okay? Where we're going to get into the tremendous banding, the intense snowfall rates, the visibilities that are going to be down, you know, probably between 0 and a 1/16 of a mile, and the snow is just going to pile up everywhere. So that is a huge deal that we're going to have to continue to watch, obviously. But I think it's going to be a whole this is the pregame, my friend. This is the pregame.
Now, I want to ask you your opinion on something, Jim. Knowing that the snowfall rates are going to be so intense, and that the main roads are going to be the focus, they're going to plow them, they're going to snow right back on top of again, they're going to have to come back again. I have this sneaky suspicion that a lot of neighborhoods aren't going to get plowed because they're going to have to pay so much attention to the main arteries. How bad are the suburbs going to be, do you think?
You know, it's kind of interesting. I want to just stop for a second and play this bite that I heard Mayor de Blasio. I don't know when he did it, whether it was either early this morning or last night. But I want to play this for you if we could. Okay, we don't have it. Anyway, so I'll tell you what he said, because I loved it. He was very firm in the fact that if you have the illusion of going out on Saturday or Sunday, forget it. So obviously he's talking about New York. But still, I mean, that's the kind of tone that needs to resonate out here. So that's how I'm going to answer your question. You know, if you have the illusion of going out on Saturday morning here, forget it. It's just not going to happen. You know, if you have to take a long trip, if it's an emergency, if it's I got to be there, you better have a full tank of gas. You better have blankets. You better have food and water inside your car, because there's a chance, if we see it, you know, get a jackknife tractor trailer or whatnot, especially on some of these major thoroughfares, nobody's going anywhere. Nobody. And you know what? Once we gridlock everything, Mike, nothing gets plowed. Nothing gets plowed, right? But you're right. In terms of getting D.C. back up, we were talking to Homeland Security this morning, And the guy just looked at me. He goes, Jim, 2 feet, 2 feet. I mean, let's be honest with ourselves. It's going to take Saturday, as the storm potentially is winding down late, which it may not now. Sunday, all day Sunday, into Monday, and even maybe even early next week. That's being reasonable and being reasonably honest with everybody. It's not going to happen overnight. But I think the less people on the roads, the less gridlock we have on the major thoroughfares, the quicker we get those cleared, the quicker we get the secondary roads and the roads to people's homes cleared. It's just going to work in that order. It really is.
Well, let's keep our fingers crossed that everything is efficient. All our ducks are in a row, and that's how it plays out. If not, it's going to be making headlines for days and days and days. Jim, thank you very much. We're now joined by Storm Specialist Carl Parker. You're very familiar with D.C.
Yeah.
Lived there a long time. Where are we going to put 2 feet of snow?
I don't know. I
Can
remember,
they dump it in the Potomac?
Yeah, I would imagine they could. I was there in 1979 for the President's Day storm, and the city was shut down for a week. And that was not this level of storm. It was not that much snow. It was close to it, but it wasn't that much snow.
Is it helpful that this is going to happen on a weekend?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's certainly going to help in terms of, loss of life or risk to loss of life. But yeah, it's going to really cause a lot of problems. It will disrupt the city for a very long time. Huge storm right now. You can see the big upper level circulation here, but it's actually not that spin that we're watching. We're watching another spin that's developing, and that's the low pressure right there. You see where the circles are coming out. These are isobars. That's the main event right there. Think about the fact that we've already had a foot of snow in southwestern parts of Virginia, more than a foot in Kentucky, and it's coming up still.
It's just getting started.
It's just getting started. Exactly right. It's going to be 30 hours of snow in some areas. So we've got a really strikingly consistent snowfall forecast, getting hammered there in southeastern PA, Philadelphia on westward into Berks and Bucks counties, Lancaster County, northern Maryland, across I-70, out 270, along 66, and all those areas you're talking about as much as a couple of feet of snow with blizzard conditions, with a lot of wind, life-threatening conditions really tonight and going into tomorrow.
It's just too dangerous to be outside.
Absolutely.
The best thing you can do, just sit at home, stay calm, you're good to go. Hey, by the way, we're going to answer all your questions tonight as best we can. If you're on Twitter, use the hashtag WUTV. We're answering your winter storm questions with our experts tonight. And tens of millions of Americans are in the path of Winter Storm Jonas. Blizzard warnings in effect in D.C., Baltimore, New York, and Philadelphia. Our Dave Malkoff live in Philly tonight.
We are at the Liberty Bell, you guys, where the flakes are just starting to come down. You are watching Weather Underground. We'll be back right after this break with a live...